everyone, Bible believers around the world, and we're back with episode 4 in this Bible study series. And we're going to be continuing where we left off in the book of Obadiah, because there were some things that I wanted to mention in the book of Obadiah that I didn't have time to mention in episode 3. Let's get started with something huge, which really shoots down this Esau's the white man doctrine right here in verse 2 of the book of Obadiah. Now, Obadiah is a book, just like really every point and book they use when these One West camps use when they try and prove that Esau's the white man. They pick through certain parts. They never read books in their entirety. They pick fragments. And they have to chop up Obadiah a lot because it's going to surprise a lot of you guys how Obadiah actually has a lot of things in it that contradict the possibility of the Europeans being descendants of Esau. Now, if we go to verse 2, this one is probably the biggest nuke to this doctrine here. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. So we learn two things in the book of Obadiah. That the Edomites are disliked and that they are a small nation of people. He made them small among the heathen. And I'm going to add a third part. He didn't say that they are the heathen. He said that they're small among the heathen. Because remember what we've learned in past episodes, that the Edomites are not heathens. They are Hebrews. They are Shemitic Hebrews, descendants of Abraham and Eber and Shem. So we know that they're not the heathen, which I'm going to tie this up to something I'll bring up later. But a lot of One West Israelites in these camps mention the depictions of Christ and how the Gentiles have recolored what Christ looked like. But when you read the book of Maccabees, I believe it says that the heathen shall repaint your portraits in their likeness. It doesn't say Edom. So the fact that that's something, a prophecy that fits white people to a T when it comes to repainting the patriarchs to look like them, and that's a prophecy to the Europeans, the heathens, not Esau. That could never be Esau because Esau's not a heathen. That is a huge hole in this doctrine as well, because one of the biggest prophecies in the scriptures that fits white people is completely ineligible fitting Esau. But let's get into this. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, and thou art greatly despised. Now, anybody who knows anything about countries, populations, and census reports knows that the white man is far from small. He is, in fact, very, very big. And I'll take it a step further and say that there is no country on this earth where not at least one white person is currently living. You have millions of white people in South Africa, millions all over Europe, millions in America, millions in Asia. You even got some in the Philippines. You got white people in South Korea. You got white people in the Middle East. They're everywhere. So this automatically makes the white man uneligible for being Esau in the book of Obadiah right away, because we know that the white man is not small. And when digging into sources like census reports and populations of different European countries, and all countries of the earth in general, the number I came up with from the different census reports is that there are currently 1 billion white people alive today. Now, leave a little bit of room for inflation, because once again, that doesn't mean that everybody on that 1 billion list are actual Japhetic white people. A lot of times people can just falsely write down what they want to identify as on the paperwork, but keep that in mind. But yes, the white man is not a small nation of people, so that automatically makes them ineligible for being Esau. And now let's take a look at the greatly despised part. Now, contrary to what these camps believe, they are the only ones who have this hatred for white people, because the white man is not hated, or the so-called white race is not hated like we learned Esau is. Because here's some things that are going to shock you. Without white people, there would be no iPhones, there would be no Google, there would be no Amazon, there would be no Pop-Tarts, there would be no Ford trucks, there would be no NASCAR, there would be no NFL, there would be no NBA, and the list goes on. So all those things that you're crazy about and you're loving were invented by Japhetic heathens, white people. So this automatically makes the white man uneligible again, because clearly the world don't hate white people because they love all this stuff. Moving on. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars. Now, I'm going to break this down because they say this is a reference to the Eagle has landed, the 1969 space expedition to the moon. Which, just like I mentioned in the last episode, that was false history. It never happened because you can't even go, outer space is not a thing. You have the firmament. So no one can literally set their nest among the stars. But I'm going to talk about something right here. I'm going to go back up to verse 3, because verse 3 and verse 4 are actually connected. I'm going to link these up with a precept in the book of Jeremiah. We're going to find out, what this exalt thyself as the eagle and set thy nest among the stars is really talking about. But the pride of thine heart has deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock. We've already dealt with the Caucasus Mountains in the last episode, so we know about that. Whose habitation is high. See, key word, whose habitation is high, because Mount Seir is a mountain. All right, the Edomites live at high habitation. Says, and that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? It's not saying who's going to bring me down from outer space. All right. Now, one thing, I'm going to give you a little bit of a nugget before I precept this up with Jeremiah. But there was a house of a certain famous man, and it was a house that was on top of a mountain. And it was called the eagle's nests, because eagles set their nests up high on mountains. So exalting thyself as the eagle and talking about the high habitation is not who went to outer space or who has stars on their flags. It's a reference to living at high habitation. And when we precept this up with Jeremiah, we're going to learn that. And one thing I really want to bring up that's interesting about these camps, they say, who's ruling the earth? The white man, this is Esau and all that type of stuff. But here's the problem. They say that Obadiah teaches that whoever has a space program and whoever has stars on their flag and whoever has military might is Esau. Well, that would mean the Chinese are the Edomites, because China has the strongest army in the world, not any of the white nations. They also have stars on their flag, and they have a space program. And on top of that, they have ancient eagle symbolism. So they're ruling the earth, they got stars on their flag, they have a space program, and they have history with eagle symbolism. So does that mean the Chinese Edomites, based on what they say? Now let's continue on, because this is going to be another big missile for this doctrine. All right? And then I've seen people go to verse 6, and they say how the things of Esau are searched out, how his hidden things are sought up. Now, he does have hidden things, but contrary to popular belief, there's nothing hidden about a white woman walking a German shepherd. That's not discovering somebody being Esau. But the Most High is going to reveal Esau's secret places and where he's actually dwelling at and what land he lives and where his descendants live and where the Edomites are going to be located at in the end times judgment. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's not Europe. All right, here's verse 9. I really want you guys to see this. And thy mighty men, O T-man, shall be dismayed to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by the slaughter. So it says the mighty men of T-man will be dismayed at the judgment of Esau. They never read this. The One West camps never read this in their videos, that the mighty men of T-man will be dismayed. Where is T-man at? Where is T-man? Because we have to know where T-man is, because it says the mighty men of T-man will be dismayed. So where's T-man at? Okay, we're now down in verse 11 of Obadiah, and I'm not going to get into the Romans a lot, because later on in this series we're going to cover the Romans, because they say that the Edomites are the Romans. But right here, this is talking about when the Romans came in and conquered Jerusalem in 70 AD. And we can see that the Edomites were not the Romans conquering us, but they helped the Edomites. Let's read. In the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that the strangers carried away captive his forces, and the foreigners entered his gates, the Romans, and cast lots upon Jerusalem, and even thou was one of them. See, our Shemitic Hebrew brother stabbed us in the back. Verse 12, but thou should not have looked on the day of thy brother in the day that he became a stranger. Neither should thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction. Neither should thou have spoken proudly in the day of their distress. Thou should not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. Ye, though thou shouldst not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance, or laid hand on the substance in the day of their calamity. Neither should thou have stood in the crossways to cut off those of his that did escape. Neither should thou have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress. All right, So right now we see that Esau is playing the role of the backstabber. He's not the heathen Roman man who came in to conquer us from Europe. He helped them. As you can see, some of us managed to escape the Romans, but Esau cut us off to keep us from escaping. And he delivered us up, the ones that were still there. So we already know that Esau is not the Romans. And once again, I'm not going to spoil it. I'm going to save it for later on. But I'm just going to tell you a little bit about European history and one thing that doesn't make any sense. So they say that the Europeans are Esau. But keep this in mind. They say the Greeks are Esau too. We're going to look in the book of Joshua and find out some truth about that. But they say the Greeks are Esau, and they say the Romans are Esau. So that means Esau conquered Esau, but then they say the barbarian tribes, the white tribes, the Scythians and the Gauls and all them, they say they're Esau too. So based on what they teach, Esau conquered Esau. So Esau Rome conquered Esau Greece, and then Esau barbarian conquered Esau Rome, and then Esau tribes conquered each other. So it doesn't make any sense. Why is Esau fighting Esau? All right, because one thing that's important to know is that Esau is the Edomites are one nation. They have Amalek, which is related to them, but there's two nations of Edomites. There's not like 12 or 15 or 30 different nations like you have with Japheth or you have with Ham. So they're not different nations. So why would Esau be killing himself? And then you look into the book of Maccabees, when the Greeks came and started killing the Edomites, why you say Esau is Edom? Well, that would mean that Esau is murdering Esau. That doesn't make any sense. But we're going to save that for later on when we start covering the Romans and the Greeks and then the Europeans and in full coverage. But let's move on.